Yo, what's going on, Mathmech players? I hope everyone's had a great time in the holidays with their families and loved ones and so on. Of course, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, the whole lot. And then, of course, we have New Year's right around the corner. So I promise I'll be there to wish everyone a Happy New Year. In this video, I want to address a few things. Now, firstly, I want to address the thumbnail and the title. I know they're very grabby, so I apologize for the clickbaiting, but I do want to address what I mean. And yeah, I'm just going to be honest. Like, what I'm showing is very true. So I am looking towards playing a bit of Salamangreat going forward. Now, in no way is this going to substitute Mathmech. Mathmech will always be my #1 and favorite deck. Without that deck, this channel would not exist because, well, I just wasn't having as much fun playing other decks, and I didn't really want to play one of the meta grabbers. Like, I like rogue decks. I didn't really want to play Dragon Link or Branded, and I knew Branded was getting support in the future, so I knew the power ceiling of that deck was a lot higher. So I just didn't want to play it. And looking at the Cyburst pile as well as Mathmech, I just love the card design. I think they look so sick. And I like the plays. I like playing with Link monsters. I think that's really cool. Adverse to like Synchros, and I'm not really a huge fan of it. But look, that's just my opinion. That's just why I've started the channel. But to address the Salamangreat stuff, the reason why I'm looking towards playing Salamangreat is for two reasons. So the first one is in anticipation for the TCG ban list. Now, for those who haven't been made aware, but I'm sure you're already aware, I'm definitely one of the last people to cover this. I'm very, very late to this, so I'm sorry. But for those who aren't made aware, Mathmech Circular is getting banned on the 1st of Jan, and that is a really sad thing. That is a very shocking thing as well. I was very confused about it, and we'll touch on that in a moment. But that is the first reason why I'll be moving towards Salamangreat. It's just in anticipation, because if this does happen to Master Duel, it's not, confirmed. No one's even hinted that this will happen, but a lot of the ban lists that happen in Master Duel tend to have a similarity to the TCG ban list, so they tend to have a direct lineage in some sort. Maybe not always exactly the same, but to some degree they do share a lot of similarities. So just something to anticipate. And then the second reason is because in the current format of Master Duel, Branded and, well, in particular Bystials are just everywhere at the minute, and it is really, really ghoulish and hellish to play through. The climb to Master 1 this season, as I described in my Master 1 video, has been terrible. It was honestly so it was so dead to have, your diameter, Sigma, some cases even Circular getting banished. So I've said banned a lot here. Getting banished by a Bystial, and then your play is just absolutely ruined. Like, not even like an Ash, not even like an Imperm, which is the traditional way of ruining Mathmech, but, just one Bystial can absolutely mess up the entire play, and that's why I was playing a more pure version of Mathmech. That way I could get a little bit more of the, addition, subtraction, having a bit more extenders from my hand. That way, in case, Sigma does get banished, I've still got plays to go through. But that is what it is. Like, it's just one of those things where I'm not even mad about Branded receiving support. I really like it when different archetypes get support. Makes the game a lot more interesting. It changes the meta going forward. And we have Super Heavy Samurai coming around the corner, as well as, Unchained, that's coming out at some point. Rescue Ace, that's going to get full support at some point. And those decks are going to absolutely rock shit. Like, that's going to be everything. That's all you're going to see for quite a long time, so get ready for that. And Bystials won't be a big problem, so Mathmech might be a lot of fun to play. But Salamangreat at the minute, because they are all fire attribute monsters, they're not affected by Bystials in the slightest, so it is a bit refreshing to play a deck that doesn't have to worry about that. But we'll touch on Salamangreat in a moment, because that is actually what I want to go through for the video today. So that is the deck list that I've been using, and then go through a few replays and my thoughts about the deck. And, well, to be honest, I'm not an expert, guys. I've just picked up the deck. I've been playing it non-stop for the past 4 or 5 days, so I'm just getting used to the plays, and I've been looking at other content creators and taking a bit of inspiration from their deck list, kind of changing it for myself and then seeing how I get on. And it's been a lot of fun, but the deck definitely has flaws, and we'll touch on that more in a moment. But yeah, those are the two reasons I'll be going into Salamangreat, guys. So I hope that people don't think I'm just dropping Mathmech. Never going to happen. Love that deck to bits. It's just something that I think is good practice. And I'll be real with you, like 100% real with you. If Circular gets banned in Master Duel, there is a high probability that I will just stop making videos, because I am not really, I guess we'll just address it now. I'm not really on the side where I think Circular getting banned has solved anything. So the fact that they've done it has confused me even more, because it was never a problem. Like, the card design itself, I understand is broken. It being a 1-card combo that can set up Black Blation. Now, I get that sounds like a lot, but it's very, very susceptible to a hand trap. And then one Bystial, of course, which, in Master at the minute is everywhere. I really don't see it being a problem. And then even worse, in the TCG, they only have one, which I understand and agree with, but one circular makes the deck even more susceptible to interruption. So what I mean by that is one Droll kills it, one Ash can kill it, one Imperm can absolutely kill the deck. And they're worried about having a non-target removal of the hand. Like, I get that's annoying, but having a deck that is very, very easily interrupted in a best of 3 format. And again, I'm going to highlight, where have you seen Mathmech doing really well in any of the TCG tournaments? None. Like, it's not that strong of a deck in the current format for the TCG. And unless they actually bring out some type of new support, or maybe they're just trying to push, you know, Salamangreat in the TCG because they've actually released some support for them, it's made it a bit stronger, then I don't really understand why they've done it, because it wasn't providing any danger. And like I said, I understand the card in itself has a broken effect and is pretty much the big cog that makes Mathmech even work. But when a card is low impact, objectively speaking, what is the danger of it? Because it's not even used in other archetypes. Fenrir can be used in multiple different archetypes. Like, it's ridiculous how versatile that card is. Now, it being hit to 1 in Master Duel, absolutely laughable. I think that's hilarious, and very glad it's happening, because a lot of decks will have to think twice about whether they actually want to opt in a card like that. But for me, I just think Mathmech Circular didn't need to get banned. Hit to 1, sure, I agree with that. But banned, yeah, I think that's crazy. But again, look, I welcome you to change my mind. I'm very open to different case and opinions. If you state your case, I'm more than... Look, if you change my mind, I'll let you know. I'm definitely open to it. Like, my word is not law. I'm just stating my opinion and how I see things going from it. And, you know, just from face value, how it looks for the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, I think it's very sad that Circular's being banned. And look, it is what it is. Maybe this channel will keep going. But if it does happen to Master Duel, unfortunately, that is how I see this channel going. So why don't we jump into the deck list for Salamangreat, go into some replays where I've had a bit of wins, a few wins, and then I can I can address some of the issues of the deck, as well as, you know, some of the good features of the deck. And like I said, guys, I'm very open to you guys commenting, you know, some advice for me for this deck, because I'm picking it up, I'm watching other content creators, I'm just trying to get used to it. But again, look, with Mathmech being my favorite deck, it will never just replace it. So unless Circular gets banned, Salamangreat will definitely be a bench. And I might even play Codetalkers. Love that deck as well. It's really fun. But them having, I just wanted to try something that was all fire attribute, because I feel Bystials have definitely grated on me a little bit for the past couple of weeks. So it would be nice to play something that is not susceptible or affected by that in the slightest. So yeah, we'll just get onto that. But yeah, without further ado, guys, why don't we just jump straight into the deck list and we'll continue the video from there. So guys, this is the deck list that I've been working with so far, and well, there will be changes in the future, but right now this has been working for me, and you'll get to see that in some of the replays, which I'm very excited to show you. So to get through this as quickly as possible, we'll just touch on the hand traps, playing Droll and Lockbird, Maxi, Ash Blossom, Nibiru, Corvée the Grave, Cross-Set Designator, and Infinite Impermanence. Now, these may not seem questionable. I think the only things that really catch your eye are Droll and Lockbird over Effect Veiler. I just find Effect Veiler only negates one monster. If you have multiple copies, I guess it works, but this provides a greater impact against combo decks, because they can't add cards to their hand by any effect, drawing effects, by, you know, a normal adding card effect. So this just stops a lot of plays. So I'm a lot more pleased with Droll and Lockbird, if I'm being honest. And then of course Maxi at 1. I have already touched on this, but to keep it brief for anyone who's new, having multiple copies of this in your hand, which tends to happen to me a lot, the second or third copy is completely dead. It just eats up space in your deck. So even if your first one goes through, it just kind of, and when it doesn't go through, it sucks way more, because that third and, you know, that second and third Maxi cannot be used in the same sequence. So pretty dead card, don't like it. And I mean, I wish you could remove the last one, but unfortunately it has not been banned yet. So we're going to see this for a long time. So I just play the 1, so that way Cross-Set Designator has something to negate. Now the last one is Ash Blossom. This isn't questionable, but this was a very cool feature that I discovered on accident. So because this is a fire attribute monster, I was able to recycle Ash Blossom every turn through the effects of Sunlight Wolf. Like that's insane, guys. Having a staple hand trap at your disposal every single turn. Yeah, I know your opponent knows about it now, but it's just an extra interruption that they have to play through. And I mean, if they feel hopeless because they need something from their deck to their hand, they know I have Ash Blossom again, then they're just going to leave. So really cool feature. I did like that a lot. But that's pretty much the hand traps. Let's get into the main deck. So Starting with Gazelle. Gazelle is pretty much the combo style of this deck. Essentially, it normal or special summons itself. So when it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can send a Salamangreat card from your deck to the graveyard. Now, if you have extenders, you don't need to send any of the monsters. But if you don't have anything, just this card in your hand, you can just send Spinny, which again is just an extender. That's why we play 3 of it. Brings itself up from the graveyard, and you can either link up into Balinks first, or you can go into Mirage Stallion, which I would highly advise because this card is just really good for getting out your level 4 bodies like Jack Jaguar, and this card is just good for extending the play. So yeah, essentially you start with Gazelle, go into Spinny, and then of course you go into Mirage Stallion, bring out Jack Jaguar, and then extend the play from there. So yeah, that's pretty much the use of Gazelle. I know we play 3, but essentially we have 6, because if you don't hard draw this card, Circle is basically what gets you Gazelle, so it's pretty much one and the same. So yeah, we pretty much have 6 Gazelle, which is amazing for the plays. And then of course, like I said with Spinny, this card, if it's just in the graveyard and you control a Salamangreat card, you can just special summon it, so it's pretty amazing for that, just good for the extent. And then of course we have Foxy. So I'm not a huge fan of Foxy for the first effect. I do not find a lot of luck in excavating the top 3 cards and then adding one. I tend to like purely not see any of my purely cards, well, Salamangreat in this case, and then I just get nothing from it. And for it to trigger the effect, you have to normal summon it, which is very unfortunate. I find this card actually has a lot more use in the graveyard because of its second effect, which is essentially it can special summon itself, pop a floodgate, and now you no longer have to play under the conditions of that floodgate. And I really enjoy that just because stuff like there can be only one, as well as skill drain, rivalry of the warlords, ghost match, whatever floodgates out there, this card can pop it. So very big, very big fan of that, to be honest. And you'll see that in one of my replays, so quite pleased. But yeah, that's pretty much Foxy. And I have to say, so I'll go on Falco first before I go Flame Buffalo. But so Falco is another card that has a better effect in the graveyard. So when it's on the field, it's fine, but you want to link it off as soon as possible, so that way you can trigger the effect that you can reset any spell or trap that is a Salamangreat. Circle's okay, but you tend to want to use it on Raw or Rage. And for myself, I prefer Raw because this is a Omni Negate, which is a counter trap, so very hard to play through. But yeah, it's just so good that you can do that. And I've got a replay, which you'll see in a minute, where Falco and Sunlight Wolf work together so well. Like the synergy is insane because I was able to reset Rage and Raw and then bring Ash Blossom back to hand. Like that's too much interruption for my opponent to even like fathom. So yeah, it was really good to do like the 3 of these together, but particularly the 2. So if you can get yourself in that game state, you're pretty much controlling the duel from there. So yeah, very pleased for you. And then what else is there? So Flame Buffalo. So this card has great synergy with Foxy and Falco, and it's because, so you'll normal summon this card, and then you'll link it off, and then to trigger its effect, you'll discard a side burst monster, so Foxy or Falco, and then draw 2 cards. So it has 2 effects that are great for you, because you want to get these 2 in the graveyard, essentially, like by any means, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So that's great. That is really good in itself. So the synergy is pretty high. And then of course you've got Jack Jaguar and Foxy. So Jack Jaguar is a combo extender. It could just special summon itself, but the second part that I like is that, let's say you used Mirage Stallion to bring out Jack Jaguar. Once you've linked this off and it's in the graveyard, you can actually just use Jack Jaguar to set it back into the extra deck. It will shuffle it back into the main deck, I believe. Yeah. And that way this can be used in later rounds. And this, like I said before, being a mid to long range deck, which is very different to Mathmech, it's just good to have an option to use your extra deck monsters again, rather than struggling to get them out of the graveyard. So yeah, very pleased with this. And then of course Foxy. So sorry, not Foxy, Foul. With Foul, I just like that this is a level 4 free summon. So if I ever, normal summon Jaguar and I have other extenders like Gazelle, so on, this will just special summon itself, and now I get into the end board that I tend to favor, which is Sunlight Wolf, which has used itself as material once that turn, and then Baguska in the defense position, because now I have a constant monster negate. My opponent's really going to struggle to play through that. And then I love to have Raw or Rage on the field. Rage is better sometimes, but overall I like Raw just because it's a counter trap. But Rage is very good because it's a double card pop if you're using, Sunlight Wolf that has used itself as material. So it is also very good in that regard. But yeah, that's pretty much where I see Foul shining, because I can actually get into Baguska a lot easier. I'm even thinking about playing Sakitama, because Sakitama being level 4, just like the Mathmech plays, if I can play it in synergy with Foul or Jack Jaguar, at least I have that option to go into Baguska and not have to use up any more resources. So yeah, I do really like that a lot. So that's pretty much the main deck monsters, guys. The one that may have caught your eye is probably Barrier Statues. So this is very experimental, but I do like that I found a way to play this card. So through Almirage and Gazelle with Spinny. If you're lucky to have, you know, these 3 in hand, so Gazelle, Spinny, and Barrier Statue, I would normal summon Barrier Statue, link it off into Almirage, discard Spinny from its own effect, trigger Gazelle, and then through Gazelle I can either extend the combo by sending Jaguar, or I can send Raw and then go from there. And ideally what you're trying to do is make Promethean Princess, resummon Barrier Statue, and if you have another extender, you can go back into your Sunlight Wolf and then just keep it from there. Because that is just insane. Like, just the fact that I can actually create a floodgate. I've tried it, it's worked a few games, but nothing entertaining that you get to see my opponent try and play through it. Like, it's a floodgate, so then you're not really going to see interaction. So won a few games through this, but again, it's so lucky that you make this happen. I was playing Small World at one point, but it's just a -2 card, because you lose a card from your deck and your hand, and I just don't want that. I'd rather just have, you know, the luck of the draw and the draw of the luck. If I had the luck of the draw to actually get this to go, then I'll do it. But if not, I'll just wait for a later round. Like I said, this is a mid to long range deck. If your opponent, you know, seems to not be able to play for your first end board, and then you normal summon this, they're definitely not playing for anything else. So yeah, it puts you in a really strong position. But yeah, that's pretty much the main deck, guys. Let's go into the extra deck, and then we can go into the replays, because I'm really excited to show you some of the games I've been getting through. So with Mirage Stalio, this is just a great combo extender. You'd use Gazelle and Spinny, most likely. You can use Foxy, but I can't see a scenario where you're always going to get Foxy and Gazelle, but you can quite commonly get Gazelle and Spinny. Go into Mirage Stalio, special summon Jaguar, and then extend the play from there. Baguska, like I said, just an onboard monster negate, just so good against like Runic. Like, it's really hard for Runic to play through a card like this. So yeah, I do really appreciate something that can just stop all of their plays. Can't even search for the fountain, so very good. And then of course you've got Baylinks. Baylinks is great for not only, you know, actually starting off the Sanctuary play, which is just resummoning any link monster using itself as material, but if any of your Salamangreat monsters are about to be destroyed by battle or card effect, this can just discard itself, and it's not discard itself, it just banish itself. It's not a activated effect, it will just happen as a result. So that might sound a bit elusive, but what I'm saying is that your opponent isn't going to be able to negate this, it will just happen at the point of impact. So it is really good that that is a secondary effect. Protects your monsters by a long shot, because stuff like Sunlight Wolf, only 1800 attack, and then Heat Leo, only 2300 attack, and then the Link 4, pretty sure only has, where is it, 2800 attack, so it's not that high. So in, you know, current Yu-Gi-Oh state, you want something a little bit more buffed up. That's why Terahertz is just an absolute monster. That thing can become 8000 attack by the second turn. Like, yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much you know, Baylinks, and then of course Almirage. The only reason I have Almirage is so, you know, Barrier Statue can become useful. It's not useful in any other regard. And then Update Jammer with access code. Don't really need to explain this. They're basically the backup OTK option. I've not really had to use it much, but it's nice to know that it's there in case I do, because who doesn't like to win with, you know, access code attacking twice a game? Like, it's really easy. So yeah, it's a nice backup option. And then of course my favorite. So Sunlight Wolf is just incredible. By far my favorite card for the Salamangreat archetype, just because it can recycle Ash, it can recycle, you know, Raw or Rage, whatever, and then it just continues your plays from there. So I've never really played a control deck, so getting used to this playstyle has been interesting, but it's actually just been so much fun, just because I've never really tried to control a game, whereas Mathmech is very floodgatey, as in your opponent knows that cards are going to get removed, certain cards are going to get negated, and then Silent Conflict is just an omni negate that they have to suffer under. So yeah, I really enjoy yeah, just it's refreshing to play a different style of Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's been fun to play this. But yeah, that's pretty much Sunlight Wolf. Transcode, this is very much a flex spot. Like I've got here, like highlighted, you could play Swarm Ship over it, but this is good to getting into, you know, your access code and reviving certain monsters. But just bear in mind, when you play Promethean Princess, if this is on the field, the effect of Codetalker is going to be very difficult, because, well, getting this out is going to be difficult, because you kind of have to use this as one of the materials, and then, I don't know, it's definitely conflicted some of my plays, but nothing that has been too threatening that I've taken it out. But you could replace this with Heat Soul if you want, that being a fire attribute monster, get the extra draw, or you can just replace it with Swarm Ship, which it's pretty good, but overall I haven't been that pleased with it. So I'm just removing cards now, sorry about that. Where'd it go? Let's put that back. So yeah, that's pretty much how I've played it so far, but it's been useful in some games. And then Heat Leo. So I'm not playing the Link 4, but Heat Leo does have its purpose. Sometimes it's good to, I've been playing a lot of Runic lately, and sometimes it's good to, you know, link into this, target Runic Fountain, and then shuffle it back into the deck, because with Huggin tends to be the one they leave out on the field to protect Runic Fountain from card destruction, but it doesn't protect it from this. That's the other extra deck monster. So once Huggin's on the field, you can just use the effect of Helio, get rid of Runic Fountain, and now they are no longer drawing cards from that effect for the rest of the turn. So it is really good, really good. Secondary effect, not really that fast. I think it's good for getting over certain big towers monsters, but I don't know. I just liked it for the first effect, if I'm being perfectly honest. And of course, because it's a Link 3, if you're able to get this on the field and have Rage, and then use, you know, Helio as material for its own summon, then yeah, you get to pop 3 cards instead of 2 by the second effect of Rage. So it's quite good. But then again, love Sunlight Wolf. Just the fact that we're trying to control the game, and yeah, this just does that perfectly. So very pleased. I think, actually, if we just quickly draw back on it, the only time I've really liked Codetalker is where I've co-linked it with Sunlight, and then I've resummoned Sunlight using itself as material. So now that it gains all of its effects, and it's protected by card effects from Codetalker. So I do really appreciate that a lot. So yeah, I think that's very cool. I'm just trying to think of any other talking points before we get onto the replays. Don't want to miss anything. Yeah, Promethean Princess, it's pretty good. I have to say these 2 cards have pretty great synergy with each other, but again, the end board that I preferred was Sunlight Wolf, Roar, and Baguska. I found that provided a lot greater impact, and then of course with hand traps as well. But this has played its place. You'll see one of my replays is against Purely, where Promethean Princess is brought out, as well as I believe Swarmship as well. But I think where decks actually, sorry, not decks, Purely literally cannot play through this card. Like, they don't know how to like play around Baguska. None of their monsters are going to be able to activate. Well, they can activate the effects, but they're going to be negated. They can't Zeus us, so what are they going to do? Like, it's just impossible until they bring out an Xyz monster that can attack in defense position. Oh wait, what am I saying? What am I saying? Zeus cannot even activate its effect anyway, so it's going to be shit. So yeah, Baguska against Purely. If you know they're playing Purely, just get this card out and you win. Like, for real, this is a 1-card win. Easy win. And then I've already explained Access Codetalker. So that's pretty much all the cards, guys. I'm pretty glad we got through that. The last one would have been, you know, Deck Lockdown, but this is just my floodgate that I enjoy to play, and of course I'm trying a different one as well as Baguska, so I'm feeling pretty toxic this season, so we'll see how we get on. But why don't we jump straight into the replays, because I've been so excited to show you how well this deck can actually perform against some of the meta decks. So I'll see you there. Right guys, for my favorite portion of the video, it's always the replays. I love to go for the replays with you guys, so I've got 5 here that we can go through together. Why don't we jump into the first one straight away? It's a little bit quiet. Let's turn this up and I'll speed up to 1.5. So again, True Draco. I should have known by the fact that they have no cards in the extra deck. It was either going to be Monarchs or True Draco, and True Draco is at the minute the better deck. They tend to have a lot of floodgates, so that's why they win quite a lot of duels. But well, that's my experience with them anyway. But I did think it was Labyrinth at first because, you know, setting 3 and passing is pretty much the meme for them. So, but then yep, as soon as True King's Return was activated, I knew it was True Draco, and I completely forgot how this deck operates. Well, the first of 3 floodgates I had to play through. So the Monarchs Erupt, this one I'm pretty sure was game ending. I really was surprised that I was able to get past this. So to save you reading the text, any monster that is not a tribute summon monster, it's negated. All of its effects are gone. And so essentially, because I don't have anything that will be a tribute summon monster within my deck or extra deck, I just have no monster. I really didn't know how to play through this. But the second effect of this card is that if my opponent does not control a tribute summon monster by the end phase of their turn, then it has to send itself to the graveyard. And so my only objective is to get rid of that True Draco monster. And it's very hard to attack over a monster like that with, you know, Salamangreats. They don't tend to have a very high attack. And I didn't really have any more extenders. So the best thing I could do was bait out the interaction, use Roar, and I was so pleased that he fell for it. If he hadn't, that really would have been it for me. I don't have any other game options there. So yeah, that would have been really shit. But either way, it worked. That's floodgate number 1 down the drain. And now by the effect of Sunlight Wolf, I can recycle Roar, which is amazing. And then by summoning Foxy to the zone that Sunlight Wolf is in, I can bring back Falco. Unfortunately, Falco cannot be summoned the turn that he's been added to hand. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go into Transcode, bring back Sunlight Wolf, and then have him co-linked. But I'll be honest, that is really greedy of me. The only reason I wanted to do it is to protect them from card effects. And a lot of these are like popping card effects. So a lot of the back row, continuous spell, continued traps. So I was trying to protect him from that, but I suppose that was a little bit greedy. And yeah, how I run playing a exclusively Fire Cyburst deck, and now I'm locked into the 1 Earth Cyburst monster that I have throughout the entire deck. So yeah, maybe I deserve to lose this game, so that really sucked. But yeah, I was stuck into Transcode. I was trying to think, how can I get rid of this guy? Like, if he had a Tree Draco monster, I would legit just attack into it, get rid of Transcode, and at least I can play with only like Fire and Cyburst, right? Well, Fire attribute, doesn't matter about the Cybus. But look at that, I drew into Rage. Do you know how lucky that is? So essentially, this card has great synergy with Falco, because not only do I pop Goes and Match, so I can go under the 1 attribute, but Falco will reset Raw, and it's activatable as soon as I bring back Sunlight Wolf. So I'm in a fantastic spot, and here's the 3rd Floodgate. Summon limit isn't too bad. I mean, it's probably better against decks like Dragon Link and, you know, of course, Mathmech as well, to be fair. But against Salamangreat, they tend to operate with their weaker monsters anyway, so I use my 2nd summon to go into Sunlight Wolf again, recycle the Rage, and now I have Rage and Raw. Like, how insane is this? And yeah, he scoops, because, and look at that, it's turn 11. Like, I'm not expecting to win this game, nor go this far, but yeah, I thought it was a very good showing point for everyone, so here we are. Here's the second duel. So this is against Branded, Despia, and Dogmatica. Mostly you'll see Despia and Dogmatica, but I looked at the deck list for this guy and there was Branded in there. I just don't think he drew into it. So yeah, Maxi does actually, it indirectly wins me the game. So what I mean by that is, I didn't win the game because Maxi had actually provided me card economy, but it definitely stopped my opponent's plays. And well, it's almost as if we went first, because I used Imperm in the standby phase. So yeah, he essentially has no monster, and I can't really see. So to me, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to treat this as if I've gone first, set up a strong end board, and then see how we get on in the following turn. And well, look, we won this game as well, so was fortunate. So we go into Mariah Stalio. That's a pretty standard play, as I described in the decklist portion. So we're going to bring back Jack Jaguar, which is great for extending the play. And you remember, guys, you can only use Sanctuary once per turn, the effect to actually use a monster as the entire material to summon itself again. So I saved it on Sunlight Wolf so I can bring back Circular, well, not Circular, Circle, bring back Jack Jaguar, and then go into Promethean Princess, and where's the following guy? And Sunlight Wolf as well. So I wish I could have gotten Barrier Statue into the graveyard, because then I would have used, you know, Promethean Princess to bring it back out. And instead of getting Raw, I would have tried to get Rage into the graveyard, so that way I could have protected, you know, my Barrier Statue. But I mean, it is what it is. So, but either way, again, because it's 1,000 attack, it's really easy to beat over, which I find that kind of, well, no, that's fair. I don't even take it for a second. I was going to complain, actually. That is very fair. You can't have like floodgates like that and have them impossible to out. So yeah, now that he's playing all this, he's able to fusion. So this is more of a Despia Dogmatica deck, to be fair. But yeah, oh, it's very tough. And yeah, I just find these decks so hard to anticipate. They just have so much gas and can play through so much crap. Like, look at that. He's just constantly sending all my stuff back to the graveyard. He's going to destroy. So I think he makes a bit of a blunder here. I don't think he realizes that the Balinks thing is only once per turn, and I only had one in my graveyard anyway. So he could have just destroyed my, yeah, Heat Leo. I don't think the field spell was going to do anything, and I could just reset it the next turn anyway. And yep, that card, all that does is allows them to synchro summon using materials on the field, but it's not really, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was that good of a card, but either way, I have the 3 cards in my hand that, you know, demonstrate the play that I was describing in the deck list portion. So you normal summon Barrier Statue, go into Almirage, and then you can, because he sent a monster for me, he actually started off my play without me having to do anything. And now I have all these natural extenders. I was able to stop him from summoning from the extra deck, because it's always the extra deck, never the main deck. And then, yep, from here, I just go into my Promethean Princess once more. And I try to bring back Barrier Statue, because that would have been nuts. That would have been nuts. He wouldn't have been able to do anything. But he would have had that 3,800 attack Ecclesia, so that was a real problem for me. That is something I really need to get rid of. So I thought Access Code is the only thing that's going to actually help me out here. So destroy it by card effect, because it can't be destroyed by battle with anything from the extra deck. And then, yeah, pray that everything else is going to be okay. Because my Roar is not activatable. So he goes into Lulu Walilith. Oh, I actually said that right, first time. Yeah, so he goes into this Despia and Lulu Walilith, and I don't really think it's that great of a card. And he didn't activate any effects, so yeah, just delete it. Goes into Maxi, and look at the attack points, guys. Like, sorry, the life points, 5,000, and I've got access code at 5,300. I could have just gone into one last Balinks, and then just, you know, had the Raw activatable in case something happened, but I felt pretty safe. Went for the last shot, and I won it. So yeah, that's game number 2. Nothing too exciting. With 3. Oh, sorry about that. Let's turn that down a little bit. Jesus Christ. Alright, there we go. I hope that's not too loud. Just bring it up a little bit. Okay, so this is Sky Striker, as you can evidently see by Ray. Now, this deck isn't really like, I don't know. I've never really regarded them as that strong. I know there was a period where they were sort of reigning over the tiers, but I don't know. I've always seen their end board look like this. Like, maybe they've been nerfed, but from last I heard they had, well, they had TCG support, I know that, but from what I last heard in Master Duel, didn't they have that fire type Link Monster released back, well, unlimited to 3 again, so I don't really know where the deck is kind of struggling, but maybe he just bricked and I've always had that experience. So anyway, he draws us, which it actually does hurt us a little bit. Usually we can play through it, but having Small World in my hand does kind of suck. I should probably move towards looking at maybe Sign It Backdoor, because yeah, it would have been nice to have Gazelle in my hand, because that's pretty much where all the plays start. You send stuff to the graveyard, you grab it out with the effects of different cards like Sunlight Wolf, and then you kind of continue the play from there. So let me fast forward this. I realize I'm talking while it's on speed. So I tried to go for the OTK here, which is pretty standard, because if you can go for it, why not? So I tried, and yeah, you'll see in just a moment. He does play it right. He special summons the, I think it's the Wind attribute or the Earth attribute monster for Sky Strikers, that essentially it just stops your monster from attacking because it can target, yeah, the Earth one. So, and now I can't attack, but I may as well destroy it. Ray obviously comes back. A call by the grave here would have ended the game for sure. Like, that would have been so good, but I mean, it is what it is. So yep, get rid of that one as well. Can't give him more, and yeah, just had to go. Well, it's just unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. So yeah, he had nothing as well, so fortunate for me actually. And I tried to go into, yeah, look, you'll see here, so I never get a good excavation of cards from Foxy. It's such a poor luck thing. And, well, I get to keep both my Fet Veilers, which actually performed very well in this duel. And the reason I wanted to show this is because I know I like Droll and Lockbird, but the Fet Veiler still is a good card. It's just not very good against the top decks of the meta, which would be Dragon Link and Branded. Because for me, those decks can play through, you know, 1 or even 2 of those. So it takes a lot to negate them. But something like Sky Striker definitely struggles. Because, look, I've got a second one. He's going to go into the Water type again, which activates in the end phase. So I have to activate this now. And then he scoops. So yeah, I like that Salamangreat can also hold a lot of hand traps, because otherwise the actual board itself would be, well, it would be pretty shit. I'm not going to lie to you, because Great without hand traps doesn't really have that much impact. You can have the Omni Negate as well as Rage, but that can be easy to play through sometimes. You just, yeah, have to be very careful. So yeah, this is pretty standard. Now, this is actually not a full game. You'll see it's only a minute long. And the reason I wanted to show it is because this is a standard end board that I was always aiming for as a minimum. Because I do like Promethean Princess, but it's so hard to play through a Baguska. Like, unless you're a Link-focused deck, Baguska does upset a lot of plays. So it is just one of those things where I think, yeah, like, it's probably the best minimum end board that you can end on. I've got an Omni Negate. I've got Sunlight Wolf using itself as material, so the next turn I'm going to be able to actually recycle Raw once again if I needed to use it. And then I've got Gazelle, so I can just reset Rage by the effect of Sunlight Wolf. So yeah, look at that, scoops. And I had that for quite a few games. I just thought that was the best one because I didn't have to play for any hand traps, and I had Ash in hand, so if he did max team me, you're going to be able to see that as well. So just wanted to show that one. Let's go on to the 5th and the final replay, guys. So see how the audio's on this one. Yeah, it's not too bad. Turn it up a little bit. Let's have a look. So let's speed this up. He ashes me, and luckily I've got, you know, my counters, so. And here we are. Yep, let's play through this, and let's see who we are playing. So I've only got 1 Gazelle, guys, so this is basically what you can provide with 1 Gazelle. Yep, Maxi, get the fuck out of here. Yep, done. That's why I just play the 1, guys. Really, that's all you need. And now we go into Mariah Stalio. Special summon Jack Jaguar. That's always the play for me. Go into Balinks. Get the field spell off of Balinks. And then you should use Mariah Stalio and Balinks to go into, what's the name? Sunlight Wolf. Almost forgot there. But I've done it the wrong way here, so I just wanted to show that to you guys. So yeah, you should use Mariah Stalio. It's just a little bit better to do so. And then here we are. So recycled the spell. Gone into Promethean Princess, and then bringing back this. So this is where you could play, and this is where I do play Swarm Ship. So I just wanted to show this. Now this is against Purely. I just remembered now, and I have to say, literally, Baguska versus Purely is all you need. They can't play through it. Like, all of their monsters require, you know, them to be summoned and then activate their effects to just even go into the Link monsters, and they can't go into any Xyz monster that 1 can attack in defense position, and 2. Even if they did go into Zeus from a Miracle example, Zeus cannot activate its effects, so, well, it'll be negated either way, so it's actually very funny. So yeah, it's pretty good. Didn't have to do anything, but yeah, this is not the most optimal way. And then of course I've drawn into draw unlock bud as well. And then yeah, it's pretty easy from here. I don't really have to kind of outline too much. I only tried to summon 4 times because I was a bit conscious he had Nibiru. Nibiru definitely fucks this deck, guys. Like, we don't really have a way of playing around it. So yeah, I just thought, you know what, I've got enough attack power to go into, because Purelis are only 100 attack. So literally, as long as you have 8,100 damage on the board, which I absolutely did. If we just go to the end here. Yeah, look at this. So this is what, 3,200. Oh, I couldn't even pause it. 3,200, 2,700 from Promethean Princess, 1,800 from Sunlight Wolf, and then 1,500 from Gazelle. Yeah, I've got more than enough to go for games. So yeah, those are the 5 replays, guys. Why don't I go straight onto the conclusion, and then we can talk about not only the cons of the deck, but I do have a lot of pros to kind of point out for this deck. I do really like it. So I will see you then. Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the replays. I really tried to get as many as I could. I've been playing Salamangreat non-stop for the past 4 or 5 days now, and unfortunately those are the best games I could get, because at the minute in Master 1, once you reach Master 1, no one's really playing seriously anymore, so it's not a good representation of an actual rank climb. You're not really going to see many of the meta decks, because who's really trying that hard anymore? And on the other hand, it's like, if you don't have the cards you need immediately in hand, because there's no risk of anything, of losing Master 1, you just leave anyway. You just scoop and then on to the next game. So you don't really get a good representation of games either way. So it's a bit unfortunate. I tried to get as best as I could. Really wanted to play Vanquish Soul to give you guys an example, because I feel like Salamangreat might do actually pretty well against a deck like that, considering everything's about mid to long range with them. So yeah, but either way, this is the deck list that I've ended on, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I think to wrap it up, when we talk about the pros and the cons of this deck and how I should have been playing this card on the left here, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, this would have been insane. And because we're all fire, yeah, that would have been crazy. But let's start with the pros of the deck. The pros of the deck is that, adverse to a normal side burst deck, this deck has quite a bit of longevity to it. So it is mid to long range in the fact that our constant end board isn't that strong, but on the next round, should we survive the round or our opponent, you know, not actually deal with us in one turn, we'll be able to recycle certain powerful materials like Raw, Rage, and then of course we have even more combos like Falco. And if you've done the combo right, you'll have Gazelle in your hand for the next turn. That way, on your next turn, you can use Gazelle, send either Rage or Raw, whichever one you don't have, and then have it ready for your opponent's next turn, because at that point, you're able to pop all their cards. You've got an Omni Negate once again, and hopefully you can climb into the higher ranks and actually start shuffling some of your opponent's cards back. Either way, this deck has very good mid to long range tactics, because it's really nice to have multiple ways of dealing with different cards. Like Foxy here is great for Floodgates, Falco here is great for resetting cards alongside Sunlight Wolf. Sunlight Wolf is great for, like I just said, resetting certain cards and getting back Ash Blossom if that's the card you choose. If not, you can extend the play for the next turn. It's just really good overall. Like, we have a few good options, but there are certain support cards in the TCG that have not hit Master Duel yet. I think this deck will definitely get a huge boost when those come out, just because we can start playing Floodgate cards just like, you know, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. I should try this out. I cannot believe I didn't even try this out. I now have a reason to get rid of this Last Impermanence. I am actually dying to see how this does, because we don't really play Dark Monster. We have, you know, access code, but I only like to use that in emergencies realistically. But either way, we'll see how we fend off. Actually, I am quite curious about this card now. But yeah, I'll get some gameplay for that. So those are the pros. Now, the cons, there are a few, but they're not so big that I would just drop the deck immediately. So where do I start? So number one will be bricking. I'd say this deck definitely bricks quite hard. The ceiling to which this, you know, deck's end board can go is already pretty low. So if you don't have enough extenders in hand, it gets even lower. And trust me, the minimum you want is Sunlight Wolf that has used itself as material with Raw on the field set, as well as Baguska. That is the minimum, guys, because below that, it really isn't enough to deal with anything. Like, if you just have Sunlight Wolf and then Raw set on the field, yeah, one Omni Negate, so easily, like, baitable. And to be honest, if your opponent has a monster that can attack over Sunlight Wolf and they're happy to play in the second main phase, you lose the Raw anyway, so it doesn't really, you know, pan out too well. And that's when you're heavily reliant on hand traps. So, and you don't really want to do that. The hand trap should be a good added bonus. They shouldn't be what you rely on to keep your game alive. It just, yeah, that's just how I see it anyway. But either way, I think this deck could improve in the future, but right now it does have a problem with bricking and the low ceiling of its end board. Now, the other problem I would say is that because of the low ceiling of its end board, it's very hard to get creative with this deck. Cards like, you know, Mirage Stalio, it's really good for extending the play, but they completely lock you into fire cards, because if you look here, for the rest of the turn, you cannot activate the effects of monsters except fire monsters. So you really are locked into this kind of Cyburst Fire like archetype, so it is quite difficult, and I don't know, I've not really found a way around it, but I'm quite new to it. So what I will say is those are pretty much the pros and the cons. What I will say about this deck is there are only really 2 end boards that you want to end on. So you're either going to go for, like I said, Sunlight Wolf, Raw with Baguska, or you're going to go with Swarm Ship with Promethean Princess in the graveyard, Sunlight Wolf on the field, and then Raw set on the field. And then, of course, if you have extra hand traps and interruption, that's great too. But as it stands, those are the 2 end boards that you really want to end on. And it takes quite a few materials to get to both of them. So if you do break, you're not getting either. And it's really bad. It does really suck. But that's pretty much how I play it, guys. I'm more than excited to hear how you guys think about it, because maybe I'm missing something here, like I said, and I like to preface that I am very new to this particular deck type. So if anyone out there is an expert and wants to point me in the right direction, please, I am all ears. I would love to hear some advice, so we'll see how we get on. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I really am trying to diverse out of not just Mathmech. I love Mathmech, but if it does get banned, yeah, I am going to have to start looking towards other stuff. Otherwise, I'm just going to, you know, stay stale. Otherwise, I'll just drop the channel, because for me, yeah, Mathmech, I might even drop the channel anyway if Mathmech Circular gets banned, just because I just loved Circular as a card itself. Like, I didn't think it was that broken, but clearly other people disagree and they're very upset about it, so it's okay, but it is what it is. Either way, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments, so I will see you there. Take care.